The Hooker and Mac Show would like to thank our proud sponsor, Master Cut Barbershop, located at 1000 Westside Drive in Greensboro, North Carolina. Stop by for a nice, clean, fun, safe, and entertaining environment where their barbers, John, Yank, Ashley, or Rick can hook you up. Come and get a cut by the masters at Master Cuts today.
Antoine, I used to be my name, Antoine Eric McLaurin, before I changed it to Omar Rashad Tyree. Tyree is actually a family name, my pop's name. So the Tyree name is there. But, you know, my dude Mike Quigley challenged me, hey man, you need to write a book or something. You telling all these stories, you know so much. And I said, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I was 19 years old. So I took that challenge, started writing books, and from there, man, I just kept on rolling. And I just have a knack for knowing human psychology, human stories, why we do things, how we do things. And I'm just been putting it together. So for 30 years, I've been writing books. Now people don't read like that. So now I'm gonna take my genius back to what I originally got it from, storytelling in the neighborhood with movies. I'm coming back to movies.
Unusual sound.
Get past the beat, get past, get past. Get past the beat, get past, get past.
Yeah. What's going on, people out there? We're doing it live tonight. on Diggin In The Crates podcast. It's your favorite DJ Amazin, one alien, with my co-host Yazzy. What's going on?
What's up, everybody? I'm here. Let's get it started.
Yeah. Let's get it started. So today is Diggin In The Crates. We are bestselling author and cultural storyteller Omar Tyree. We talking books, bars, and how hip hop has always been about telling our stories.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. But before we get into it, let me introduce you to the guests and give you a little background information. Omar Tyree is a New York Times best-selling author, NAACP Image Award winner, and professional journalist from Howard University. He's written fiction, nonfiction, hard news, op-eds, screenplays, stage plays, and many other forms of writing. As a highly sought-after lecturer, he has been invited to speak at more than 80 American colleges and universities. His work continues today to include developing, writing, and publishing literary content and adapting and producing films, music, and educational events worldwide. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, and I'm from first generation hip hop. So when I think about Diggin In The Crates crew, I go back to when I came out of Howard. They had the Diamond D, Showbiz and AG, and they had Lord Finesse, and they had OC, was one of the last ones that came out, and they called themselves the Diggin In The Crates crew from the Boogie Down Production Bronx. You know, so when I see that Diggin In The Crate, I immediately think of them guys. Everybody used the term, but them dudes had the crew where they actually used it professionally. That was like 1993, 94, 95, around that time. Yeah, so I'm hip hop all the way, even though I write books. It's all part of the culture, as they call it, you know. So I was just documenting books instead of doing just records, you know what I mean? Watching movies. The book starts with the literature of who we are as a people from Philadelphia. So I got all the hip-hop stuff, all the movie stuff, and you put all of it in the book. So all my books have all the hip-hop stuff in there. The Flyy Girl book is from the 80s, so that's all the 80s stuff.
Word.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the sound of that. So you've been telling powerful black stories for years, so what first drew you into, like, writing?
Well, you know, again, I grew up in West Philadelphia, born and raised, you know what I mean? And what happened was my mother was the oldest of 8, my father was the oldest of 4. So I was around the baby boom era of a lot of aunts and uncles. And then my grandmother was like the favorite aunt. So whenever somebody got in trouble, they would come to our house. So I had like 17 to 25 people. And this is the baby boom era. And we had like, 3 floors, 5 bedrooms in a basement, so people all over the place, and I'm the youngest, so I'm seeing stories, stuff you ain't supposed to be around at 5 years old, because I got teenagers, they not shutting doors and stuff, they saying things, doing things, and I'm around all of it, taking it all in, and then they also love movies. And so they would get the nephew, and then my mother was the oldest, so my uncles, I had 2 uncles, Monte and Andre, and they tell my mom, hey, Renee, we want to take the nephew to the movies, but we ain't got no money. And so my mom get him the $5, this is the 70s, see, $5 went a long way, man. And I'm with the uncles all day long, and then they ribbing on people, telling stories as we walk into the movies, and I'm listening to all of it. Then you go in the movies back then, it's triple features of Kung Fu movies. So now I'm in there for 6 hours with my uncles. I come out with the movie memorized. Master Hu, if you teach me the Wu-Tang technique, I can defeat the Wu-Tang style. Right, teacher, if you teach me the monkey crane. So I came out, and my uncle's like, he didn't memorize the movie. So then we get back to because we would walk like 20 blocks to go to, this is back in the day. So we get back to our neighborhood. Now they got their other teenage friends. Hey, man, do the movie scene. So now I'm doing the scenes for all the teenagers. So I was like Mr. Storyteller at a young age. So by the time I got to be a teenager, football games, parties, anything that was going on, I was the one. And if you got something wrong, no, that ain't how it went. This is how it went. So I was the dude. And then it's just, when I got to college, they wanted me to write, to see how your writing and reading skills are. And I was like, you want me to, I went to Pittsburgh, I wanted to play football. And I was like, you want to write about me? And they was like, yeah, hobbies, the thing. I was like, for real, I can write Philadelphia without slang. I started put all the slang in there, all the stuff. And they were like, yo, this is exceptional. But I was always doing it. So it just got the writing part when I got to college. And then the college people validated it. Then it was put up or shut up. You know what I mean? Like, you got it. What you going to do with it? I didn't want to be one of them coulda, woulda, shoulda people. So I went ahead and did it. Been doing it ever since.
That's what's up. Let's talk about your book, Flyy Girl.
Yeah.
Because this is a cultural classic we got here. So,
Yeah.
And you're preparing to re-release it, or you have re-released it with the new cover. Let's talk about how the story even came about.
That was the 1980s era. You know what I mean? In the 80s, everybody had jewelry. And we had the earrings, we had the Mr. T was in the 80s, all that daggone the earrings and the finger rings, everything. Then we had the purses and stuff, then the hairstyle. So everybody, and then New York used the word fly too, but they would use it more as an adjective. The fly glasses, fly coat, this person, fly sometimes. Philadelphia uses it as a noun. You are fly. That means you already got all the items and all the stuff. And so in our city, you had to have everything. And so, during that time period, I had moved on up from West Philadelphia to an area called Mount Airy. And that's where the black people got a little more extra money. Not money where you got mansions and stuff, but enough to go to Catholic school, to get your teeth fixed, to get some extra, stuff. So we had the girls that had a little extra bit of money, and they get the earrings and all. So our neighborhood, we had guys coming from all over Philly, North Philly, Southwest, to talk to the Mount Airy girls and the Germantown girls, because they were the flyers and the pretty girls and all that kind of stuff. And I was there already. So I'm like, all right, well, we got the Flyy Girls all coming in. So, of course, I was around them. We going to the parties with them. And so in that book, the whole idea of the fly thing, of being extra, of being elevating above everybody else, and then the 80s end up being the drug era. So once we started talking about selling crack cocaine, now the girls are like, well, you got extra money, you can take me shopping. So now you got dudes selling drugs and then taking girls shopping. So now it's a negative thing, like it ain't crazy. And then we start calling them gold diggers. The girls are like, Kanye West had a whole song, right? But that came out the 80s. So that's New York, Philadelphia, New Jersey, D.C., Chicago, all over the country. We spending, they called it the Reaganomics years. We got all this money we spending. We going crazy. All of that going designer clothes, the Tigre, Azad, Polo, Nike, Reebok. We wearing everything with got names on it. Yeah. We went crazy. And so when I wrote that book, I was writing about the materialism that drove us crazy in the 1980s. And the girls were right in the middle of it. Guys were right in the middle of it too. And so I got cool dudes, cool guys. And again, I was a young dude writing it. I was like 19 when I first wrote it. It came out when I was 24. I had to finish school first. But when it came out, nobody else had written about us in our own time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a young dude. They're like, what you doing writing the whole book? It blew people's minds. I had all the Philadelphia lingo in there, you know, and, oh man, this is, and then it inspired all these other writers. Like, if Omar can do it, I'm gonna write about New Jersey. I'm gonna write about New, and then all these other young writers start coming out. But yeah, I was first because again, I was in that position as a storyteller, and I just kept going with it. And I wasn't afraid of it, you know what I mean? I've never been a nerd. I've always been smart and knowing what I'm talking about, studying stuff, watching stuff. Introverted, nobody believe that now because I talk so much, you know. And once you know a lot, then you don't have to be introverted.
Exactly.
But an introvert, you taking in everything, you watching everything. And again, I grew up with my aunts and uncles, so I'm watching everything. So yeah, that's how Flyy Girl came about, and it just sparked everything, and everybody started coming out with books and all that, and the whole coining of the word urban, you know, I did that too. You know, it was urban, I'm in the city, and so that's where it started from.
So I still want to stick on the book Flyy Girl. So it's like it's 2025 now. So how you think Gen Z, you know, will receive the book when you know re-release it?
Well, I've been trying to get them to re-release it for years.
Yeah.
Lionsgate has the opportunity to do the film. They've had it since 2013. And I was like, all right, I want to put on a book, soon to be a major film. And they didn't want to do that because they didn't write the screenplay. They wasn't ready to go yet. I'm like, come on, y'all going to do the more? No, we're not ready yet. So I'm like, yeah, come on, I want to push more of the books, sell more of the books. Then I was talking to the publisher, Simon & Schuster, put it back out. Are they making a movie yet? No, but let's put it back out. We got the 25-year anniversary. So if they're not doing the movie, then they finally want to do it now, 32 years. But they called it 30. They're like, no, it came out in 93. That's 32. No, 30 sounds better. If y'all would have did it 2 years ago, you know, so now they got it on the market in 30. But yeah, I've been trying to get it to come back out, so they finally doing it now. I got to ramp it up. Yeah, I don't know how young people read now, but I got to push it. But if they read it, I got them. When I first wrote the book, knowing that I'm writing about a gold digger, she was more aggressive, more assertive, more confident, more in your face. Because she's going to say, look here, you're going to take me shots. You one of them kind of girls. So a lot of girls that were reading it, they were like, wow, she's really, they wasn't like that. So they admired her, but they wasn't like that. You know what I mean? Girls chasing dudes that got the money, and she's very assertive. And then when I wrote the screenplay, I did write the screenplay, it's ready to go. She's assertive in the screenplay first. The first time you get to meet her, she tells her girlfriend, watch I get his football jersey. You know, because she's a cheerleader. So me, she's like, watch me get his jersey. And then she come on her, hey, want me to wear your jersey? And she all on him. And you watching that, the manipulation, and she end up with his jersey. And then the mom is like, why are you going to grab that boy? Mom, I just going to wear it. I'm going to take it back to school. She has that domination as a woman. Now, when I first wrote it, a lot of women, they didn't have that. Some of them would, because you course them writing about a real person. But a lot of them didn't. Now, oh man, a whole lot of them got it now. It didn't change. You know, things done changed. You know, so now you hear young girls, I deserve better. He ain't doing this, nothing. And they all over social media with that. Guys are like, whoa. You know, so yeah, in my era, everybody wasn't like, you would have some girls from Philly, New York, New Jersey, Baltimore. You had the ones that would stand out. And then others that would fall back like, I ain't like that. You know. But now we got more of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, majority of your books, like, you know, it has like that feel of like hip-hop songs and albums, you know.
Yeah.
So what kind of like hip-hop songs kind of influence you for your writing?
Well, all the hip-hop songs were out because we were going to house parties. If y'all watch the movie House Party, that's my era, the 80s. And so everything was based on the music. We started in the 70s with funk. I grew up with my hit the funk. And then actually hip-hop, the funk records, you know what I mean? Because in Philadelphia, when we start spinning, and Philadelphia is one of the top spinning cities with the DJ stuff. New Yorkers will tell you that. Jazzy Jeff is a bad dude. Yeah. And so we were going to parties where we got the even New Yorkers would bring the records down to Philly first. Yeah. Let's see how Philly like the records. I grew up in the 70s. Think about the movies. Shaft. Superfly, The Mac, Black Season, Sparkle, Cooley High. They all had soundtracks, dude, that I'm talking about classic soundtracks that we still sample.
Yeah, that's fact.
We talking about 40 years later, we still, and so I grew up with that. So we grew up with the music as part of the story.
Yes.
We always brought, then you look at people as my peer group, John Singleton, Spike Lee, The Hughes brothers, they did the same thing. They had soundtracks in the 90s. And so with the 90s stuff is more elevated. Now we don't have that like that. You know what I mean? Now, if we just had the centers, it was based on, the whole groove and whatnot. But we don't have the soundtracks the way we grew up with it. But I want to bring that back when I start doing movies. But yeah, hip-hop has always been a part of the culture. I'm not going to write a book about a character and not have everything that the character does. So the way they dress, the way they speak, what they listen to, it's all in the book. But I was one of the first to do that because other people, I didn't know. Look, if I'm writing about you and you eat bubble gum, I'm going to have that in the book. You know what I mean? Like, that's part of being authentic. Exactly. So I didn't understand why they wouldn't put that in the book. Definitely want to let the Greensboro know we got the Greensboro Flyy Girl party, and we want you to dress to impress. That's something we did in the 80s, too. We showed off. And so it's different. And I went through a period when girls were trying to look sexy. And so they were putting these freakum dresses on. We didn't do that. So girls wasn't trying to show that, but they was trying to put layers on. Got my earrings, I got my jacket, I'm coordinating, I got my shoe. So, and when you saw that, you was like, yo, she did all that coordination? I know I got to have my game ready. It wasn't a sex thing. You got to have your game. You got what you going to say to her, how you going to, impress her. When it got to that whole putting the freakum dresses on, now like you ain't got no layers, you didn't put a lot of, so it's like that's not what, in the 80s, we had more layers to get, you already knew, like if she got like $800 of clothes on, you know you gotta come with some strong game. So it totally changed from being fly to being the sexy thing. It just, so I want to bring that back. So when we do the Flyy Girl Greensboro party, come with your hottest stuff. We giving out prizes to the best dress, and that don't mean the sexiest dress. That means you had to look at, I'm gonna put this here and put that there, come down. That's how we want to, so we can look at if you look at magazines, right, you're looking at Elle and Vogue, they are outfitting the whole woman because it's a lifestyle. So she'll have something on her wrist, something around her neck, something around her ankle, and you might be looking at a dress, but they showing you the whole life. So they gonna show everything. That's how we got down in the 80s. Fly, that's what Fly was. They don't even use Fly now, because they ain't fly. They don't know how to do that. So when we had a party, the Fly Girl, we want y'all to dig in the closet and get all your stuff together to be fly again. And that's on Sunday, the 22nd of June. I'm coming back. We're going to have a great time with that. We're going to sell the books. I'm going to have items from the Fly Girl clothing. I got Fly Girl bags and do all that because I'm trying to jazz it up and have merchandise. But we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about relationships, too, because with these 3 books, we went from a fly teenager chasing guys. When you get to the second book, For the Love of Money, you want to show that one. Then we get to the college level. When the girl makes it to the college level, when they go to A&T or Bennett, now they going to upgrade what the expectations are for a man. It ain't just a hot dude with game and got a car. You go to college, like, no, you got to have more than a car. You got to have a degree, a house. So now they elevate what they want. But now with the boss lady stage, if you go through a job and you don't still have a man, now you a boss at 30-something, now it gets even harder because now you're going to be talking about, you got to have a 401k1, you got to have your stuff. So now it goes up and up and up, and it gets harder and harder for every dude to qualify. And that's what we talking about now. A lot of times when girls start, I want this, I want that, and guys are like, wow. You know what I mean? So these 3 books are showing you that. Because it elevated to the boss lady. When I came out with that book, Boss Lady, 2005, Oprah Winfrey was the only boss. Now, of course, Diana Ross always called herself the boss. And then Aretha Franklin was always, but outside of that, Oprah. Now, every daggone female rapper, every female that got a show, I'm a boss, I'm a boss. So 20 years from everybody's boss. Then that creates problems for the men. Because now the men are like, okay, if you the boss, then what's my role? They got too much control. That's why this is my next book. See, everything I write has a purpose to it. And then this is what happened with a lot of guys now. They become apathetic. All right, well, you the boss. I ain't doing nothing there. I'm going to play video games. Right? Like, you the boss. What I'm doing there. Right? And now, I may say something to a woman, may make her mad because I'm a man. I'm going to say what I'm going to. Now, these brothers like, don't say nothing, man, just because you want to get something. You don't want to make her mad. So now you got dudes that don't agree with you, but he ain't going to say, no, okay, yeah. I can't wait to get in the bedroom. Yeah. So now you got young dudes lying their behinds off. Yeah. And you think they agree with you. And then they get ghosts. That's the term y'all use now, right? Just disappear. I ain't got no reason. He never agreed with you. So here I come as the old head. They don't like me because I'm saying this old head stuff. Yeah. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. Look here. The truth is going to come out. Yeah. Sister Soldier, they don't know her. They like her books. This is Sister Soldier for the people that don't know. Yeah. If the truth hurts, you'll be in pain. If the truth drives you crazy, you'll be insane. We are at war. That's Sister right. Soldier. Yeah, so we got some work to do. But that's in the Greensboro Flyy Girl party we got coming up on the 22nd. Yeah, I just take it from all of life. You know what I mean? It's just not specific people. It's just, a lot of times it's the idea. I'm into the ideas. Like the control was the idea. But you think about the idea. Think about Kanye. They don't control me. They control so-and-so. And it's like, Kanye, somebody need to control you. Because yesterday you had, 1.3 something billion? Yeah. And today you got 600 million, you know. So like, you know, so I take that and I was, wow. So I'm not writing about Kanye, but he's in the book, but did the idea. And then I create characters that fit the idea. I'm going to be having a whole tour all in the other cities, but I'm coming back here. I'm going up to Philly. I got New York. I got D.C. I got Virginia, Atlanta. The whole tour is June and July. So we're going to be talking about all this. And then I got 5 core objectives for the tour where I talk about getting to the facts of what's going on with us. I talk about literacy and understanding because I write for us to understand ourselves, right? And then number 3, I'm going to talk about the 3 energies of men. What type of guy you choosing? If you have a certain personality, it ain't gonna match. Yeah. I'm over talking everything. Y'all got questions?
Yeah.
All in hip hop, right?
Yeah.
Because them hip hop dudes be way overboard.
Exactly. You know, as I go out, you know, now, you know, saying, you know, as me, you know, being a DJ producer, you know, saying I go out to like different spots and stuff. So I see like, as far as like the music, and I see like, no disrespect to the females out there, but right now, you know, they taking control. So the type of music that you hear now, like, as far as like females got out here, what book could you kind of compare that to, like, how they feel and what they doing right now with the type of music the females are doing right now?
Crazy, man. I actually have a female rapper that opens up and control. And here's the deal. And it's crazy because I put her first. She's 23. She's the youngest in the control book. Okay. She got the rawest mouth. So immediately knowing that I had a Flyy Girl audience, I said, all right, I'm going to start off with her. So I got a movie I just finished called The Conversation. And it's a date movie, where the brother say to the woman, I want to put everything on the table right now. Because now what's going on in relationships, you get 2 years in and then find out, well, I ain't want to have no kids. Well, I don't want to do this. 2 years in. Like, how come you ain't tell me? Or you ain't asked, or they ain't want to tell you. Yeah. So now I got a movie where, and you typically don't do that on the first date, right? You ain't going to put everything on you, because you got, but you can do what you want in the movie. So in this movie I just wrote, y'all going to be like, oh my God, he asked it. Oh my God. I'm like, yeah, because we have to do that now. Yeah. Too many people are holding back information to get what they want, and then it comes out later, and there's killing families, man, killing relationships. So that's what I got right now. We have to have that conversation that's raw and honest, so we can get back on track, man. So it's really interesting, man. I got a whole lot of content that I'm going to deal with, but these 3 books have already done that. Control, all 3 of these books, 4 books are going to be for sale. Doing a tour, $20 each. I'm all over the country. And then coming back to Greensboro for Sunday, the 22nd, for the Greensboro Flyy Girl party. And you got to be fly. Because we do the flyest dress. We're going to get them prizes, awards, take pictures all over the place. And then we're going to show other cities. We're going to show all other cities. Look, New York, this is a Flyers. Look, Chicago, look, Philly. So if you come as the Flyers, we're going to promote you nationally and internet, because we got Flyy Girls in the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, Dominica, Jamaica, the Bahamas, London, Canada, Africa. You see? So we're going to have a good time with it.
So you've been writing books and a lot of things for a while. So let's talk about your grind in the industry. How's it changed?
Say that again?
Your grind. How's it changed from the beginning to getting book deals now to use of social media?
I'm not allowed to grind as hard now. I'm going to tell you, I put out a book in 2015 called All Access, where I was talking about, you know, reality shows and social media, how they putting all their business out there for a show. I mean, what are you doing? And so I wrote that, and I was in Charlotte at a Books A Million. And, you know, a sister's, Omar Tyree, I bought your books. And I had a new one. I was like, okay, this is the new one. And she's like, I bought your books before. I was like, all right, but this is the new one. Didn't I tell you I bought your book? So I had to back down, okay, because now she knows me. And she going to talk, Omar was pressing me about that. I told her, when I didn't have a name, I didn't care. This boy was this boy, who's this boy? But when you get a name and they can talk about you, now you got to be more, respectable. Because I was fierce as to go, oh, you don't read books? Oh, I was saying crazy stuff when I was in my 20s. Once you get a name, now you can talk about it, especially with this social media stuff. They trying to cancel people and all that kind of. So now you got to watch everything you say, everything you do. So now it stops your grind the way you used to be. You're just all in. Now you got to be, can I say that? Can I do that? Can I say that? Now you got to be more cautious. Yeah. So yeah, it changes a lot. And then people like, Omar, you don't be doing something. You're supposed to have assistants doing that. You know what I mean? So then like now you got to have people in front of you, and you're not supposed to be talking. You too accessible. Have a person in front of you to do. So yeah, it definitely changes. I remember Big Daddy Kane. He didn't want to be caught at the bus stop or the gas station, anything like that. He wanted because he's Big Daddy Kane now, and that made me laugh. I mean, you crazy, But yeah, once you get to the level, I got a poem in For the Love of Money where I talk about fame. Once you famous, you always famous, because what they gonna say is, didn't you used to be? They gonna say, so the only way you not famous is nobody recognize you again. Because if somebody recognize you and you at McDonald's working or whatnot, they gonna say it. Didn't you used to be so-and-so? So it never stops. So you always gotta be thinking about it. Unbelievable.
Word, okay. Well, we're about to wrap this up, but before we go, can you let everybody know where you can, purchase your books at? These books you got right here.
We're gonna sign that for the poetry for the love of black women, and you can get me guys on Instagram. Only one, the number one, Omar Tyree. Everything else is just Omar Tyree. That's on LinkedIn, TikTok, X. What's the other joints you got? YouTube. And then if you want to look up the tour, Hot Lava Entertainment, that's where I did all my music. Hot Lava Entertainment has a schedule for June and July where you can get that. And then, of course, the Greensboro on the 22nd of June. We coming right back to rock that out.
Word.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, we like to thank everybody for, participating tonight and Digging in the Crates podcast. Once again, it's your boy, DJ Amazin, Yasmine, and the man of the hour, Omar Tyree. And we'd like to give a special shout out to my man, Smoke. He wanted to put all this together, man. That's, my homeboy, so we don't be knowing Tyree back in the days, kind of like days, but you know how we do. But to all our sponsors and stuff that really, look out for us, the people that's in here that's supporting us today. We just want to do it with show, but love. Until next time, love, peace, and happiness. We out.
Nasty.
A huge thank you to Omar Tyree for appearing on Diggin In The Crates Hip Hop Podcast to discuss his book and events relating to Flyy Girl. And if you need any more convincing, here are a few satisfied readers.
Reading this book was so epic because I read this book when I was 12, I believe, the first time. And now as a full adult, coming back and reading it again, it's such a different experience. I really found myself this time initially really engaged in the parents' storyline. And I know the first time that I read it, I didn't really pay attention to that. Was something that I actually didn't expect to be so captivated with. I actually didn't remember all of the details because when I was younger, that just wasn't that important to me, right? And this time it was so significant. So that was something that was very different this time around. Also, it was just a lot of drama. I mean, having an adult and having siblings, what Tracy's mother goes through with her sisters in the very beginning is just something that I think we could all relate to, just having family. The story progressed. Either I adapted to his style of writing or he began to share more details, but either way, that dissipated and I was able to fully get into the story and enjoy it. So overall, I love this book. I think I love it now more as an adult than I did as a child, which was crazy when I read it the first time. So I would definitely recommend reading this book.
Flyy Girl, a book written by Omar Tyree. Very insightful book, very inspiring book. A book that takes us back to who we were while we were growing up, takes us back to the mistakes that we make, and helps us to realize just where we get the wisdom from, the wisdom of life from, right? And this book is an excellent one for teenagers and for parents as well, because this can give you so much insight into the workings of a teenage mind and helps you to understand their tumultuous emotions, their mood swings, the choices that they make. This is an exceptional book, and I guarantee you, you won't regret giving it a read.
In honor of Omar Tyree, let's take you back to the day of the Flyy Girl.
Oh, I definitely got nice and smooth.
Hey girl, put it on.
Hey, a dance and don't quit. I need a honey, hey, I need a honey, hey, I need a honey to give me her love, to give me the isms and put the cash in my hand. I need a honey to give me her love, to give me the isms and put the cash in my hand. I need a honey to give me her love, to give me her love, to give me her love, to give me the isms and put the cash in my hand. I never did a show for less than a grand. Phony mother niggas wanna shake my hand. I guess it's because I broke the mic stand and back to me like Duran Duran. I got data up and down like an elevator. It's the original, not the duplicator. Last year, Premiere took me out with the fader. Now I'm back with the
Bonita apple boom, you gotta put me on. Bonita apple boom, I said you gotta put me on. Bonita apple boom, gotta put me on. Bonita apple boom, I said you gotta put me on. Bonita apple boom, gotta put me on. Bonita apple boom, I said you gotta put me on. Bonita apple boom, you gotta put me on. Bonita, Bonita, Bonita. Hey Bonita, glad to meet you. For the kind of stunning you miss.
The Hooker and Mac Show would like to thank our proud sponsor, Bowden Construction Management and Electrical Contractor, run by Mr. James Bowden. If you need services from licensed contractor for residential, commercial, or institutional areas, contact Mr. Bowden for information at 336-707-1769. Again, that is 336-707-1769. Or send an email to bowdenelectrical@yahoo.com.